Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This one is actually on the topic of how you scale past a certain number of clients. So a lot of people seem to get stuck at like 3 or 4 clients and they can't scale past that. And I've noticed as well that a lot of my audience or a lot of my students at this point are getting clients, and they're kind of done with the conversation of, you know, how do I get my first one? They're more so onto the conversation of how do I get my third, my fourth, or my fifth, or scale past that even, okay? And so in this video, I just wanted to talk about some simple ideas and some simple concepts, and as well as some learning material for you to go on and basically study this stuff on your own time, okay? So I think the first thing you need to understand is that, you know, you got to identify where you're spread thin, and then put in systems or processes that keep you from having to be spread thin, and this can be identified as leverage points, right? So for example, instead of lifting 50 bricks one at a time by hand, you build in a pulley system and you put a net around the bricks and you pull up all the bricks with the pulley system, right? That's leverage, it's a system. And so it's the same thing with taking on more clients. You have to think, okay, what in my business could I use as an active leverage point or as an active sort of pulley to actually do the heavy lifting for me? And for example, you may be busy talking to all the clients and that keeps you from getting more. Or you may be busy doing the work and actually getting the client's results, and that keeps you from getting more. And so you have to first identify where are you actually spread thin. Okay, so that's the first thing you have to do. Where are you spread thin? And actually identify it and put a pin in it and note that for later. And then you're going to want to go out and find a way to systemize that. And it sounds really broad, but I'm going to come to a close here in a minute with that point. There's a book you should read on this topic called the EMyth, and this is a book that I've recommended a lot on this channel, and basically just talks about how there's different types of earners in the economy, which are you got freelancers, you have entrepreneurs, and you have business owners. And where a lot of people find themselves in SMMA especially is in that freelancing place where all they're doing is selling social media marketing services and then coming in and providing them themselves. And what you want to do is you actually want to gravitate towards a place where you're selling the service and then you don't have to provide it. And where you want to get eventually is that you don't even have to sell the service. So you've got people selling the service, you've got people providing the service, and all you're doing is managing the whole thing. And at that point you are a true entrepreneur because you are not even working in the business, you are now fully working on it. Okay, so with that knowledge understood, and you should definitely read that book if this is a place where you found yourself stuck. With that knowledge understood, it makes it pretty clear what the next step is, right? So if you are stuck talking to clients all the time, put in a system. And a system in business is oftentimes either software or a person, okay? And so software, for example, well, you can create or you can Google or find some software. I like to use Slack for my communications, right? You put in software and then you put in guidelines or you put in people for your communications with clients. So either, for example, you can tell clients, hey, you can ask me anything at any time past 6 p.m. and I will get back to you within 2 hours for everything you need, right? Then you have a bit of a better guideline and you say it has to be over Slack, right? So now you're creating a system or a process that actually makes things quite a bit easier. And if you want to go the step further, you can say, here's a group chat with me, my team member who's actually doing the Facebook ads for you or whatever, and yourself. If you post any questions in there, my team member will answer them for you. If he or she can't, I will step in. And now you've got a system where you can actually truly take a step back and let the client just, communicate with your business instead of directly with you. And you can find this team member that he can be a contractor that you hire elsewhere, he can be a friend of yours that you trust to do the work, whatever it needs to be, right? And so you're beginning to see what I'm saying, right? So what you have to do is identify where you spread thin and then put in a system or process to meet that. And another example could be actually doing the work. So I've found that a lot of people are stuck in that place where, they're talking to the client too much. Put in some guidelines, say, hey, we'll have 2 meetings a month over video, or even 1 at the end of the month, and you're allowed to message my team member and me at any given time. That's a really good way to do that. The next thing is actually doing the work and actually getting the client results. So this is another tricky one because it really depends on the niche. So I'm going to give, again, generally sort of broad advice, but if you take it and actually apply it, it functions, okay? And that's really what I'm doing right now, is broad advice, but if you apply it, it actually works, all right? So if you're stuck doing all the work for your clients, what you're going to want to do is hire a contractor, okay? It's really not that hard. As long as you have proof of concept, which is, and I've defined proof of concept on this channel many times before, which is a client pays you and you are happy and the client is happy with the transaction and with the relationship, okay? That's proof of concept. So once you have proof of concept, that assumes that the client got results because the client's happy, right? So once you have proof of concept, then you can hand that proof of concept off to a contractor and say, all right, here's the workflow, here's what every client needs, just do this for them, okay? And for example, it could be like real estate agents. You now know that there's a certain type of ad and a certain type of targeting and a certain type of like funnel that works for real estate agents. So you're just going to copy paste that across a bunch of clients. Now it's just on you to go and sell a bunch of clients, and the contractor knows the work that needs to be done. Okay, so it's about building systems and processes, and a lot of entrepreneurs miss this. They miss the golden ticket really to scale, which is find proof of concept and then build a structure around it. Build systems and processes, and systems and processes can be guidelines, software, people, or any other leverage points or any other almost outsourcing points, right? Places where you can hand off responsibility either to an algorithm, a software, or a person, okay? And so you think even like, for example, right now I have a funnel that I run where we're spending some money on Facebook ads to get clients. And I'll make a video about it soon and actually break it down for you guys eventually. But really, people don't realize is that, I identified the biggest like hurdle that I have to take in my business, which is finding new clients. And I've spent, like 6 months really trying to develop a streamlined, easy way to get new clients in the door, right? And I figure, you know what, if we're selling Facebook advertising services, let's just freaking use Facebook ads to get clients in the door. And so then you begin to realize, oh shoot, it's not so much a game of how hard can I work, it's more so how smart are my systems and the processes that I put in place. And that's really what allows you to scale. It's not working harder, it's not working longer hours, it is putting better systems and processes in place, right? And so I highly recommend you begin to think this way instead of thinking, how can I work harder, how can I cut in more working hours? Frankly, I recommend you limit your working hours to 3 or 4 hours a day, and then you just write out key tasks that absolutely have to happen and ignore all else, right? Otherwise, you're just going to work, and the work isn't actually going to move the needle or do anything for you. Especially as a self-employed entrepreneur, it's important that you actually identify the tasks that matter. Otherwise, you're just going to work and you're going to pat yourself on the back at the end of the day and be like, man, this was a great day because you got your to-do list done, but the problem is your to-do list doesn't actually align with what needs to get done. Right, so that's a bit of a tangent, but it's important for you to realize as well. So that's the video. I hope that makes sense. So if you want to scale from that 2 or 3 or 4 clients level to, 8, 9, 10 clients and upward, you have to have a system, you have to have a process for every single client that every single client goes through that is easy to communicate to them and easy to train new people on. And as you develop that, it will be incredibly easy to scale. And you'll be surprised at how helpful it is when you just simply write out the workflow for each client and how truly easy. It's not hard at all. Literally get a Google Doc, okay? Open it up and type step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all the steps that are required in order to service a client, and just document that and give it to a contractor. And they are going to love you. You're going to be their favorite client and they will get great results if they know anything about what they're doing, okay? And I definitely recommend you start doing this. It makes things incredibly easy. And yeah, that's the end of the video. That's about all I had for you. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that brought some value to you. I'm actually developing right now a module in the course about this exact topic. And that's sort of why I made the YouTube video. I felt like it'd be good to put on the YouTube channel as well. If you're interested in more in-depth training on how to do this and how to actually build processes and build systems that allow you to scale past that 4 or 5 client mark, definitely check out the program. It's already got 50 plus hours of coaching calls in it, and that alone could be a program in itself, but I'm actually expanding off of those and creating a step-by-step guide off of what I've learned works in a teaching setting. Yeah, so then if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can check out coaching. The link is in the description. You can schedule a call, and I'll actually see if you're qualified for the program. I do not let everybody in. I probably say yes to like 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 of these calls because just so many are not ready. But if you want to take a shot and just see if you're actually a good fit, go ahead and schedule a call, and I'd love to work with you. So thanks once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.